Good day. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. First of all, I want to say thank you for the 50 subscribers. Thank you very much. The journey still continues. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Today, we're going to be reacting to the headlines. This week's headlines was about the illegal miners in South Africa, Stilfontein. Um, so I have the interesting one because apparently there's a request for ARVs for the illegal miners that are trapped. They're not actually trapped. They refuse to come up. They refuse uh, to come up. They remain inside the mine. Yeah, but they now request for the ARVs. So let's get to it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. So since the miners are refusing to surface and they sent the request. I don't know if it's the miners or is the government that request this move. Let's hear and listen and let's react. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Share and hit that subscribe button and that like button. Let's get to it.
Vessels Morueng is expected to engage with stakeholders in Stilfontein on their efforts to bring these illegal miners to the surface. Morueng was appointed to chair a rescue team established by the police minister, Senzo Mchunu. Let's get you an update now with News from Africa's Refiwe Seboko. She is live on the scene for us. Refiwe, we spoke to the Community Safety MEC here on the show just last week, as Nico Mhlaba is also standing by for more on this story. Refiwe, has the Community Safety MEC now changed his tune? Last week he told us there would be no assistance for these miners.
That's the stance that he took last week to say that there will be no assistance to these miners. But I guess with the court order that we saw, Michelle, directing that those miners should be assisted, help should be sent to them, food, water, medication, amongst others, and also with the issue of having to open.
Okay, I think even this request for ARVs was made by the court, because the court is the one that is calling the shots that the miners must be helped, yeah. But so I doubt if we help them, will they resurface or will they keep remaining in that mine or underground? So let's continue.
Another exit, it's almost sounds like they're somewhat changing it tune. I mean, also with that rescue team that was established by the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, Vessels Morueng, chairing that rescue team that has been established, and with him expected to today have that stakeholder meeting. The statement also indicated that later on, after that meeting, which is expected to be at 2 o'clock today, he will then, after that, engage the media. But I mean, we also, just as we are in touch with the community leaders on the ground that has started with that rescue operation, they had indicated that on Saturday they had took down food. Today they took now water. And just before you came to us, Michelle, we saw as what sounds like a letter that comes from those that are underground, reading that Sicela ama ARVs on that letter that I've also shared, which then.
Okay. Okay, I guess I was wrong. The request was made by the. I'm not guessing. I was wrong. The, the letter was written by the miners that are underground, that they request the ARVs. Yeah. So let's continue.
Says those that are underground are also communicating with those that are on surface. But we saw that statement as well, Michelle, from the presidency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, indicating that what is happening here in Stilfontein remains a criminal act. Stilfontein mine is a criminal scene, and that's why we will continue.
It's true. Mining the resources, illegally, it's a crime. So, and it must be punishable. It must be punishable. So, which means they're gonna be punished for that. So let's continue.
To see police officers, SANDF members continue to conduct their operation in terms of Vala Umkoti, in terms of upholding law and order, and ensuring that those that come out, they are going to be arrested and fully face the mighty law of the might of the law, or the and be processed accordingly. But also indicating that as much as there is that directive that there's going to be a rescue team, a stance of on the police not going underground, because based on the information that they are receiving, some that are underground, they are heavily armed, but also indicating that from the information that they are receiving, this is a syndicate, a criminal, well-organized syndicate, and therefore that's why it's important that they will continue to conduct this. Authorities, law enforcement authorities should be able to conduct this operation, ensure that those that are underground, they are resurfacing. Of course, as they come out, that statement also indicating that there will be given the necessary medical attention, because those that have not been with water, with food, with their medication, coming out being weak, critical, and therefore needing that medical attention. However, after that, when they've regained their strength, they will then be detained and also be taken through the proper court processes, Michelle.
Siliko Mhlaba, you're also on the scene tracking this story. It sounds like it's going to be a mammoth operation. Last week we were talking about 4,500 Zamazamas being underground. Do we have a revised and more concrete decision on just how many people are still stuck underground and how long this retrieval or rescue operation will take?
Well, Michelle, I can confirm that to this particular point, there is no number that has been confirmed by either side, except the number we were dealing with last week. We were talking about over 4,000 illegal miners being underground, despite the few that has come out which are under 15. There's no number that is exact at this point, which has been confirmed by authorities. But also remember, late last week, towards the weekend, government came out disputing, that figure of over 4,000 illegal miners, saying that, well, practically and realistically, they are assuming, or they are looking at between 350 to 400 illegal miners underground. So there is no confirmation from either side, because of the fact that it's been very difficult for law enforcement, to try to really account on the number of people underground, besides the information that was communicated by one of the committee members who had gone underground, some time ago. So as we've been tracking, these strategies which have been taking place here in Klerksdorp, we made mention earlier on of the site that is, built over a mass grave here in the Northwest Province. I understand that this tragedy took place in 1978, just 2 years after the 1976 uprising which took place in Soweto. So this was during the state of emergency. We understand that where we are right now is a mass grave. Over 90 workers died on this very same surface when a stone fell on them, milestone fell on them. But of course, due to the complication in terms of the underground operation at the time, they could not be retrieved, or their bodies could not be retrieved, so they remained underground. And of course, I'm going to read out something that is also engraved in this particular site. It reads as follows: they rest 2,570 meters below this memorial, where they died on the 26th of April 1978. May they rest in peace. On the other side, Michelle, as my colleague was trying to zoom into those, you will see a list of people, and of course they did not engrave all their names. As I said, that we're talking about over 90 people. Here they have about 16 people who are engraved there. We see the name of Molifi, Katso, Gindwe, Nato, and several others. So this gives us a perspective in terms of the dangers, of this particular area, especially for those who are illegally underground. So this is the reality. These are the miners who died underground. And of course, this was back as 1978. And of course, at that time, these operations were legal. So companies and government agencies had all the resources at their disposal. And of course, it was state of the art of that time when it comes to equipment, and they could not retrieve those who were underground. Even the bodies of the deceased could not be retrieved. So you can only imagine then, how complicated the situation where my colleague Refilwe is, because we're talking about something that happened in 1978. It's 2024. Nothing has been changed in terms of equipment, and at this point, that mining operation is illegal. So it's going to be difficult then to try to mobilize resources, but we'll hear what the MEC of Community Safety here in this province will table when he briefs the media about the steps government will be taking in terms of putting together all the necessary resources. But we know now that there will be experts who will be brought into this particular site to come and try to assist this particular operation. Minister Senzo Mchunu, Minister of Police, when he was here, he did mention that there's an issue of time. So there's a very limited time in which all these processes and all these operations should be concluded within. We'll see then when we hear the briefing from the chairperson of this mine government rescue team when he briefs the media in the afternoon, Michelle.
And Ziniko, surely this court order now that police stop blocking the access and exit points for these miners is an indictment on the comments coming from the minister in the presidency last week, Umbuto Chabeni, who said that no assistance would be offered to these miners and that they would be, quote unquote, smoked out.
I believe that's very true, Michelle. However, I think the response to that very safe statement, which was uttered by a minister in the presidency, got very serious, negative reaction from the members, especially those in the human rights sector, members of civil society. But ordinary South Africans, even those South Africans or general public, was divided on that statement, still is, whether the minister, was correct, because there are people who are saying that actually the minister was uttering a statement which is shared, or a view which is shared by many South Africans in terms of, the problems South Africans have been, living under at the hands of illegal miners across South Africa, but also human rights activists condemned the minister. So I think that is why the human rights and civil society groups took the matter to court, and of course the court order really did make mention and order government to open some of those sites. But as we've been walking up and down about 2 kilometers away from the site where my colleague Refilwe is, there are several open holes which are not closed, but you cannot access underground because some of those holes are flooded with water from underground, some are enclosed with concrete. So it's going to be very interesting to see where exactly and which side is government going to reopen for those illegal miners underground to come out. But we also understand that we've been hearing that where my colleague Refilwe is the only safest and the most easy to access point where people can be able to come onto the surface, whether by themselves or through the efforts made by those who are currently on the surface.
Let's go back to our colleague Refilwe Soboko. Refilwe, what do we know about the extent of this team, this rescue team that's been established by the police minister to help in efforts to bring these zamazamas back to the surface? And what's the time frame here?
There's not been a time frame, Michelle. You remember that after that meeting last year when Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu was here, it had at that moment an announcement of